And just a heads up that the first hour of this talk is brutal. It's really quite confronting.
And how serious is this issue in your mind?
Oh, it's huge because it's not just porn, it's violent extremism, it's gore, it's bestiality, it's everything.
Online safety educator and documentary maker Rob Cope
Because as soon as that first nude is sent, they're trapped.
has been touring the country to educate parents about the risks of children growing up with ubiquitous, high-speed internet and a plethora of social media and games.
Back in the 80s, we used to think it was funny to type boobs into the calculator. You know, everyone did that, thought it was, hilarious. Like a 6-year-old can spell boobs. And if they were to type that into their tablet, into Google, guess what they'd get? It'd be porn.
250 parents have come to this event in Cambridge tonight, the size of the crowd indicative of how much of a concern online safety has become in New Zealand households and at our schools.
The nude is a tool to get what they want, whether that's more nudes and videos or whether that's cash or to meet up for sex. And I've heard horror stories that parents and people have told me of like their 12-year-old meeting up with someone they thought was 12 in a hotel room just for it to be a predator who spent the afternoon raping them. So
This is in New Zealand?
this isn't, yeah, of course. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, multiple stories of that.
Because
scenario.
a lot of people watching this would say, oh look, it is scary, but that's not happening to my kids, so it doesn't matter.
And
what do you
that's
make of that
that's
rationale?
the biggest myth, right? Not my kid. Like, this doesn't happen to my kid. This happens in someone else's home. No, it doesn't. You know, if your kid is human, they're going to be curious.
Can it be damaging, do you think?
Very. Yeah.
How so?
What can be a hurtful comment online that would never normally be said to your face can escalate into others commenting, and from there, individuals' self-esteem, self-harm. We've experienced all of those things.
Daryl Gibbs is the principal of Cambridge Middle School and president of the Association of Intermediate Middle Schooling. What are other principals telling you, other school leaders telling you?
Yeah, so social media across the country, particularly once they hit the intermediate and up age group, once they get their first phone, those sorts of things, it's a common issue across the country. For us, it can be a lot of incidences that happen at home, in the bedroom, on the weekend, that once upon a time kids wouldn't have had to worry about. They leave school at 3, they're safe, now they're on their device, and often parents don't know what they're doing, who they're communicating with, whether it's an actual 13-year-old boy or someone pretending.
As a parent too, he has his own regrets after allowing his daughter to download Snapchat at age 13. Within weeks, the bullying began.
When she got a phone and I gave her Snapchat, it was 3 weeks before she got her first "you should kill yourself" message, and that was a couple of years of working through a process with her in terms of all the things I've just talked about, in terms of that anxiety, depression and counselling, etc. So unfortunately for her, we learned some lessons, and my younger daughter has the benefit of that.
And how did that come about, that message? Who was it from? What prompted that?
Yeah, so it was someone who had been a friend. It had been probably a reasonably small falling out. She sent that message. And then it just snowballed. So attendance became an issue. That's another thing. Didn't want to go to school, didn't want to be around people. Just viewed the world differently than she had 3 weeks before. We naively said, here's your phone, go for it.
Gibbs is not alone. This couple, who asked not to be named, had to remove their 15-year-old daughter from school completely due to bullying, which started with hateful online messaging.
Yeah, I ended up homeschooling her because I needed to get her out of that school environment. It was not safe sending her to school.
But she was on a precipice. Very, very serious depression, self-harm, and suicidal tendency, and that required a lot of intervention.
I've had experience. I've had a guy came to buy something off me here in Cambridge, and he said his daughter has gone through this whole thing, and he took me through this story, and I was like, wow.
What was the story?
She was given a phone at the age of about 13. The daughter got very, very addicted immediately, and they tried to withdraw it, and turned to violence, and she turned really, really nasty. And she could not keep a phone out of her hand. In the end, they got it off and they took her away from school, so she attempted suicide.
I've heard of a number of cyberbullying events that have found their way back into the classroom.
Like most parents, David Connors is trying to manage his own children's online consumption.
We've got a 9-year-old boy who loves games. At the moment, he has access to a tablet, but it's in the lounge when we're there. But he wants the games. He wants to be able to live chat with the people playing those games, which of course we don't do at the moment. But then he's got an older sister, and she's allowed his devices in her room, which now we think, we really need to have some open conversations.
So your kids might be on Roblox and they're like, hey, I've got 100 friends on Roblox. And you say, wow, you don't even know 100 people. Like who are these people? And they're like, oh, just someone who wanted to be my friend. Because kids want to be popular. You know, who doesn't want 100 friends? But where do predators hunt? They hunt where their prey hang out, and especially online, because they can perfectly camouflage behind an avatar. And they know the perfect things to say, the perfect things to do. Like I was talking to one principal that he had 3 students, they were all year 8, so 12 years old. All 3 of them had sent nudes to the same predator on Roblox.
What is your advice to parents like me?
So the main things are, you got to filter everything. If your kid's going to be on the internet, do you want them exposed to everything on the internet? Because there is no magical government filter that filters out porn or bestiality or gore or whatever it is you don't want your kids to find. It's on every single device, just waiting, to be discovered. So filter, boundaries, like screen time limits. Number 1 rule, no devices in bedrooms or bathrooms ever.
Is the New Zealand government, in your opinion, doing enough to protect young people?
No, not at all. So I've drafted up a bill, the New Zealand Child Internet Safety Act, that there's some very simple solutions to get this sorted.
COPE wants measures like mandatory child filtering in homes, safe SIM cards for minors, and devices with built-in protections. But the Internal Affairs Minister, Bluck van Velden, is not considering a law change, emphasising that she thinks decisions about internet use are best made by parents.